Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Robin Eller. I am the new care manager for San Luis Obispo County. And although I'm new to your area, I'm not new to the chapter. I've been with the chapter for 5 years, and I have been covering Kern and Stanislaus, Fresno, Tulare counties. And just want to thank you guys all for participating and joining us today for the virtual walk to defeat ALS and kind of give you guys a few updates on how we're changing things up and still reaching out to our community. First, I just want to let you guys know that some of the ways that we're still providing service for our ALS community and their loved ones is we are providing online support groups, virtual support groups, and our loan closets are still up and running just the way they always have been. Our assistive technology closet is still up and going. I encourage all of you to reach out to me if there's any needs that you might have. Another thing is we've been doing educational webinars due to the corona and the COVID-19. We also have a webpage dedicated to COVID-19, coronavirus, and any updates that may pertain to people in the community and our ALS community with that. We did a webinar the other night with Dr. Rosenfeld about the precautions needed for our ALS community and their caregivers and loved ones. You can find that on our webpage. I do encourage all of you, if you didn't join that webinar, I encourage you to check it out. There was some really good information on there that most of us weren't aware of. Good morning.
Good morning or afternoon or whatever it is.
There you are.
There you are. Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah. All right. So my name is Mary Nappier, and this is my husband, Bill. And we live in Arroyo, Grande on the central coast of California. And we've been on this ALS journey for just past the 7-year mark. And I remember when I start crying really easily. Anyway, I remember when I was first diagnosed, and I thought it was going to be the end of my life. That was 7 years ago, and I have found out since then it wasn't the end of my life. In fact, I still have a lot of life to live. When I first was diagnosed, I lay on my bed with my hands down by my side at night. And I thought, what's it going to be like when I, my nose tickles or something, and I can't tell anyone about it because I won't be able to talk. And, after a few nights, I've been a Christian since I was a young girl and believed in God. And God just said, my grace is sufficient for you. In your weakness, my strength is perfected. And I just said, okay, God, I'm going to depend on your grace and your strength. So we've made this journey, and such a big part of it and an enabler for us has been the local ALS support group, which we have so enjoyed going. And my prayer is not just to be encouraged, but to encourage others. And I have found how much we can encourage one another, even though our disabilities or problems are different from one another. We still have the same basic thing going. And so through the years, I've been so appreciative of the ALS, the local group, how they've helped all the support groups and and then the clinic. We went to the Monterey Clinic, I think just once, and they've been so helpful for us. And we've had people come into the home and give suggestions for how we can manage things. And so I've been so supportive, so appreciative of that. And just in the last few months, actually, we got a mattress was given to us for the hospital bed from the Martha Olson Foundation Fund. So we've been so appreciative of how they've helped us with equipment and so on. And when we go once a year, we have the walk to to defeat ALS, and this is our 4th year, I guess. And each year we try to get a team together to walk and support. And the name of my team is Mary's Marchers for Hope. And so we have some stickers and so forth and a banner for that. And my hope is definitely for us to find a cure. And also the reason I really named it that too was that there's hope in this life. We still have life to live. But it's, of course, as a Christian, my hope is even someday when I leave this earth, I'll go to heaven and I'll have a perfect body. I'll be able to run around and just do everything I want to do. So I'm very thankful. And on my banner, I have my verse, Romans 15:13. I pray that God, the source of hope, will fill you with joy and peace because you trust in him. And I just want everyone to have joy and peace and hope. And I've just been so thankful through the years of neighbors and friends and family who've been able to come and support me and walk with us. And I'm so appreciative of what all the various people have done through the years to help us, because we're in this together, and I so appreciate it. Did you want to say something, Bill?
I just want to thank everybody for all their help and for the support groups. And I met Janelle when her mother was there. And so we've gone through that long cycle, and just everybody's been so gracious and so helpful. And anything that I feel we need at any time, I feel free to call, and someone will solve the problem for me. But thank you very much for everybody and for what you do.
So yeah, Robin and Kathleen, your sidekick. And
I know she's in the living room right now. She's on another call.
Oh,
and she was here though.
And Julie is
Julie Surge and Janelle and
goodness.
you and Kathleen and the many facilitators that we've had in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And so I'm missing everybody. That's usually in our support group, but hey, I just wish God's blessing on all of us, and we'll get through it and we'll be together again.
Hello, my name is Dr. Jeffrey Rosenfeld, and I am the director of the ALS Neuromuscular Program here at Loma Linda University Health. I would like to welcome you to the first ever virtual walk to defeat ALS, and thank you so much for your interest and support. We are living in an unprecedented time. In less than 1 month, almost every person in the developing world has been affected by a virus that most of the world's population had never even heard of before that began. The magnitude of this disruption most certainly has resulted in anxiety and likely fear for you. The purpose of today's talk is to provide you some basic information and hopefully offset some of that anxiety and provide some tips and answers to common questions that will at least make you better informed and hopefully better prepared. Recently, the Golden West chapter has sponsored a very well-attended webinar where many of you had the chances to contribute questions. Based on the most frequent questions that were asked then, I'm going to provide some of those same answers tonight in hopes of addressing anticipated concerns. I'd like to start out with some very basic background information. Coronavirus is not new. Up until the time of this infection, there have been at least 6 types of coronavirus identified. 4 of those types are fairly benign and result in what we call the common cold. And 2 of those types have made the news in the past for their severity, both the SARS infection and the MERS infection, both of those originating from different parts of the world, but both of those also coronaviruses. Now, COVID-19 is a new type of coronavirus, and we believe it's been transmitted to humans by bats and an animal called a pangolin, both of which are common in China. The pandemic first came to attention in December 2019, just a few short months ago, when a few people that were frequenting a common open air market in Wuhan, China, came down with a type of pneumonia that was new and unseen before. By January of 2020, the first patients were hospitalized, and the numbers were growing rapidly. The numbers in Wuhan, China were doubling approximately every week. By February 2020, the first patient reports came into our medical literature, and we began to first appreciate the kind of clinical problems these patients presented with and the variability of their clinical course. One of the most challenging aspects of recognizing and managing COVID-19 is that we don't have very sensitive screening questions or screening methods to identify patients. We ask everyone if they've had a fever, if they've had a cough, if they've had shortness of breath, but those clinical signs were actually only found in less than half of the patients that were hospitalized in China initially. So as a result, we don't have very specific or sensitive clinical signs to screen for the disease. The second major challenge in recognizing and managing COVID-19 results in the fact that the patients can shed or pass along the virus about 1 to 2 days before they actually have even their first symptom. Every day, we are confronted in the media with statistics of just how fast this virus is growing and just how many deaths are resulting. At this time of the recording, there have been just over 1 million confirmed cases worldwide, with about 25% of those coming from the United States. And the prediction is we have not seen the peak yet. The takeaway message from this is, yes, this is serious. And yes, everybody has to become more aware of their daily habits. There is no doubt that this whole situation results in a lot of fear and anxiety, and maybe even despair, especially on the part of our patients who were worried about their health before this happened. Let me address some of the most common questions that I've heard so far, hopefully lessening some of that fear. Many of our patients want to know if they're more vulnerable or susceptible to getting the disease. Susceptibility usually means your likelihood of catching a disease, and having ALS does not make you more likely to getting COVID-19, more likely than anybody else, because ALS doesn't compromise your immune system, your ability to fight the disease. But having ALS and other motor neuron diseases can compromise your lungs and your ability to clear secretions, and that would make recovery from any respiratory illness, including COVID-19, more difficult. So while you are no more likely to get the disease, you may actually have more difficulty dealing with the disease if you do get it. So what can you do? Well, I don't think anyone will ever accuse you or your caregivers or your families of being too careful. Limiting your contact with other people, wearing surgical masks, frequently washing your hands, using gloves, disposing of those gloves regularly. These are the best methods we know at limiting the spread of the virus. Another common question that we received was whether being on a respiratory device like a BiPAP machine makes it less likely to get the disease. The answer is no. A non-invasive machine like a BiPAP machine will not prevent you from getting the disease. It may, however, provide you more respiratory support in the setting of any respiratory infection, including COVID-19. Oftentimes, we have to adjust the settings on the machine in the setting of an infection because your needs are higher and the machine needs to supply more support. So that frequently takes an adjustment if that's necessary. One of the lesser known facts about the respiratory equipment that you may have in your home already is that the devices actually aerosolize the patient's secretions into the room air. And usually that's of no consequence. However, if a patient were to have an infection like COVID-19, aerosolizing the secretions in the room make the caregivers more vulnerable and further emphasize the need to, again, wear a mask, wash your hands, use gloves. We receive many questions regarding concern over the shortage or possible shortage of respiratory equipment. And that's of greatest concern in the area of invasive ventilators. Well, many of our patients already use non-invasive ventilators in the form of BiPAP machine. And what you might not be aware of is many of those non-invasive ventilators also can serve as invasive ventilators if needed. And the invasive ventilators are in what's high demand elsewhere in the country. Here in California, I'm not aware of an actual shortage currently. And if you have one of those machines that can serve as both an invasive and a non-invasive ventilator, that would give you even less room for concern. This pandemic will eventually pass. The controversy is on the timeline of when that will occur, not if that will happen. As an ALS patient, a family member, a caregiver, please don't forget how many resources are available to you to address your concerns and to serve your needs. Here at Loma Linda, our multidisciplinary team will remain available throughout this entire ordeal to our patients who are nearby, those who are far away, and those who are new to our program. Having a disease like ALS has always caused you to adjust your routine in ways that you may not have thought that you would ever need to do. Responding to the COVID-19 pandemic just requires some additional considerations, some additional vigilance, and also the confidence to know that this time will eventually pass. The Golden West chapter has also many resources and available staff to help address questions and needs. Please feel free to email Care Services Department at the address listed on the screen. If you have additional questions, email those as well, and we'll do our best to get you the right answers. Again, thank you for your interest and your support of the first ever virtual walk to defeat ALS, and congratulations for making history at an already unprecedented and historic time for all of us. Thank you and enjoy the walk.
Hey guys, Janelle here again. Don't forget we have a contest going on. It ends at 4 p.m. All you have to do is answer these two questions. What year are you and why do you participate in the walk? Post those on your favorite social media channel and tag us at ALSA Golden West. Make sure to include the hashtag walk to defeat ALS. Make sure that post is public so that our staff judges can find it. Those 4 category contests remain the same. They are most creative, best theme, most likes and shares, and best overall. Best of luck, and we can't wait to see what you've come up with.